Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, Mixed Martial Mindset. I am with the one, the only, smashiest John Fitch. We're actually going to talk at least about one MMA fight today. I bet you watched Bellator, Fitch. Did you watch it?
I was flying. I was traveling.
Okay, so tell us what's up with that. What were you doing?
I went to Eagle FC and watched that live in Miami.
Oh, you did that. Okay, so you did. You know what? I totally forgot about that. And then I didn't have fights to watch Friday because Bellator was Saturday night for the first time.
Mhm.
And Rashad Evans got a win, right? Tell us about the
Yep.
experience because there were some really cool fights on that card.
Yeah, most of the fights were pretty good. They're mostly evenly matched. Anthony Njokuani was a little bit outmatched because he was trying out the new 165-pound weight class, and he was just too small. He needs to stay at 155. Yeah, the fights were decent. I enjoyed them. The atmosphere of the fights were awesome because there's no masks, no passports. Um, it was like a luxury event. They had like nice movie chairs with your cup rest and reclining whatever stuff around, limited space, and you got free snacks. You got free beverage, and they brought you like I got some sliders. It was fun. It was a good time.
So what arena? How many people? Like I and where could you find it?
It's like the
Because
I can't remember what it's called, FX something arena,
okay,
but they're set up. They're supposed to do more shows there, I think. Um, but yeah, it was good. It was close to the hotel. I walked there just because it was nice out, and I wanted to be around the city and,
sure,
and check it out. And I had fun. I had a fun weekend.
very awesome. Now where is that? Now is it strictly pay per view right now? It's not on Fight Pass, right? Like where is it at? Like Khabib's doing his own thing with this.
It's online. I can't remember what the links were. There's two different ones. One for if you're in Russia and one in the States.
Okay.
But it's some type of streaming.
So they haven't linked up with like Fight TV yet and haven't available there because I know that they do a lot of things there.
Uh, I can't remember
Hmm.
off the top of my head. I can't remember, but I know that it was the arena was like one of the name of the links that
Hmm.
they're giving out for the Russian fans, and then there was another one. But it seems like they're trying to get on Fight Pass.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They Fight Pass is a guaranteed purse. And it's also a great way to get your fighters at least on the Contender Series. You look especially at LFA, probably their premier organization, and really one of the premier organizations people don't talk about outside of Bellator as far as like international competition. They got a lot of Midwesterners and just really great camps fighting out of there. They probably do the best. There's other ones out there, like they have Cage Warriors, etc. But I think
Mhm.
Eagle FC would obviously be stepping it up and probably in that class. So that's really exciting news. I'm excited about that, guys. We're gonna get to all the stories in the front. I'm gonna warn everybody we are on YouTube. Warn John too, because we're still riding dirty with two strikes in 3 days.
Man,
John,
I,
I know.
I put up I have a new video. It's up on Rockfin. You should watch it on Rockfin. It's a learn to fight video. I watched some street fights. I break down do's and don'ts, things they should have done, things they shouldn't have done. Give a little perspective to what's going on, to these fights in the wild, things that people could have done to avoid the situation altogether. Um, but yeah, YouTube, like it's age restricted and it's demonetized. So screw YouTube.
Exactly. Listen, here's and you know
It
what? I'm
can't.
glad.
I mean, it's. I'm trying to give knowledge to people to help them be safer and not get into fights, not get injured, not injure other people, not hurt other people out there. It's a big thing that I say all the time is like if you want to fight people, if you want to be in fights, go to the gym. Go
Mhm.
fight people who know what they're doing. Go fight in a controlled environment. Do it there. You're not a tough guy. You're a bitch if you're picking on people at the bar. You're a little man picking on people who don't know anything. You're a bully.
Yeah.
If you really want to be a tough guy, go to the gym. Go train with people who are killers. Train with people who know what they're doing.
And not only
There's
that,
plenty of
that's gonna
accountants who will
serve
choke the
you.
crap out of you or beat you up in sparring,
Mhm.
right? Stop picking on people at the bar. um, yeah, there's also some situations where like there's people waiting at a bus stop. It's like one of the last fights on my video, and some crazy lady walks up, and there's a guy and a girl standing together, and the guy like tries to ignore the lady, but the lady starts like touching the girl's face and like putting her hands on the guy. Like it's just little things that you have to be aware of, and you should not allow somebody into your space at all. Do not allow a stranger into your space. Don't let them touch you. Like, that's assault right there. You don't know where it's coming from, what's coming next. You don't need people to touch you.
No. And that's the other thing. If you're actually in there and you understand the consequences of that, and you're not picking on smaller people, not only are you going to learn discipline, but you're going to be much more, instead of, maybe fading away, but just automatically reactionary of a situation where you might actually be in trouble, where you might actually be assaulted, where you might actually be robbed, and know to get out of there rather quickly. Size up an actual situation, not just Die Hard land in your mind where you're Bruce Willis or Neo in the Matrix before you have your...
I just see red, man. When I see red, like, watch out. Get out of here. You're a retard.
It's ridiculous. All right. So guys, we got some major announcements. We're going to show this Rogan clip. Finally, Rogan has responded to all the Spotify stuff. And by the way, there's all these memes out there, and I'm not sure they're true. I haven't looked into it, but basically they're associating Neil Young's record buyout, because I discussed when it first happened, half of it went to some other company.
The people who own the majority of his music also they have major stakeholders in the jabs.
Let's be careful about that. But they also supposedly have connections to Blackstone, right? And that's the firm that is enabling all these blocks of housing to be bought up for more money now, but then turned into rentals or something else later. So there's a lot of shadiness going on out there. You don't even know what Neil Young's thinking for himself. So we're going to play this clip in a minute. We're going to get to all this good stuff. Here's what I'm doing. I finally decided to pull the trigger and stop being lazy due to one of my buddies just getting on my ass. And I am going to invest in the premium Podbean package, where now they also offer video podcasting that you can put up there as well. And that's really, it came down to Buzzsprout and Podbean, because there's a lot of limitations. I hadn't really looked into it. Some have upload limitations with download limitations. Only so many people, like for instance, Fitch and I do, on all platforms. On Rockfin, it's probably like 1,000 to 3,000 viewers. If I put the audio over at The Grueling Truth, it'd be another 1,000 to 5,000 viewers. Whatever we have here on YouTube, anywhere from like 1,000 to 5,000 viewers. And that adds up quick, especially when what these guys do is distribute to all the different platforms. So if we got marginally successful, all of a sudden the 20,000 download a month plan that you think might work for even just 4 broadcasts, you're paying a tier. So those two get around that. Anyway, we're going to have it bare minimum, next week's Mixed Martial Mindset will be available live on Podbean also, because another thing that Podbean offers in that is you can live stream it, John, the audio at least. So we are going to be starting to be on the RSS feed, bare minimum this show. My other problem is, everything I do isn't a podcast. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of not my style. So at the same time, I'm going to be taking clips and trying to figure out how I can put them into like 90 minutes, maybe best of the week or something like that. But I don't know what I'm going to name it. I'm thinking maybe the Electric Sheeple Cast, but a lot of people might not get that. But I think that's pretty decent. But, people might not get the reference. We're going to be there. And hopefully we're going to monetize this podcast, because another thing that I just learned is that even with Rockfin, and I know that a lot of you guys watch on Rockfin on your phones, you can't subscribe to my channel. So if you're watching out there and you have a paid subscription to Rockfin and you think you've endorsed Jason Burmis, go check right now. Especially if you didn't do that out of the gates and you were kind of confused. That's a big thing that has to be fixed. I looked at my YouTube analytics, for instance, John, and my YouTube analytics are 40% Android, 40+%, and then 20% iOS, 60% on a phone. Hopefully, I've been told that this week you will be able to tip on the phone app finally, and that's a big thing for, again, guys like John and me.
I'm still having trouble signing in.
Exactly. The app needs a huge revamp, and I hear you. And believe me, I'm talking to these guys all the time and trying to put pressure on them to make that the next big thing. But check if you're actually subscribed to one of us, especially if you think you've endorsed Fitch or myself. Just make sure you are, and you hit that subscribe button. It does help. That being said, We're going to be showing trucker stuff all the way down. I've got a bunch of videos lined up, how it's being framed in the media, Mika Brzezinski, so much more. But let's start it off with the Rogan, Fitch. Finally, Rogan responds. Let's play it for the people.
I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance,
Whoop. You know what? We're stopping it right there because no matter
Yeah,
what
because you label, you say any of the things.
Dabba-doo. You know what?
Yep.
That's on the other side, guys. That's on the Rockfin
Yep.
part of the broadcast. And I'm
Can't
sorry.
even say.
I'm sorry we have to do that, but that's the guy. I mean, that was taboo. Who knows if the channel's going to be here in 5 hours? And you know what? That's a good segue for everybody to understand. I do need you to thumbs this up and subscribe if you're watching at YouTube for the first time. Okay? But remember, we've had the channel taken 4 times. That's 4 times, guys. Not I got suspended and I got a strike. They removed the fucking channel 4 times and I had to fight 4 times to get it back. All right? Just want to put that out there. And if they remove it for this again, I will fight back and I will get it back a 5th time. But that's why we need John Rockfin, right? And Fitch and I are there. It's again, the subscribe button's right here. That's how you can, financially support me. I got 2 subscribers in the last 2 days, 1 locked in for a year. Let's thank those guys right now. We just got another one today, John. And Fitch, talk about that, because in a time when obviously the algorithms have been stacked against guys like you and me, it's hard to make a living with traditional social media, while influencers that peddle bullshit and actually get paid for it are able to flourish.
It's very frustrating because not just on a account of like making money and being successful or whatever, but the people who listen to the BS believe it. And when you go out into the world, you just have a bunch of stupid robots repeating nonsense. It's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating.
And by the way, I want to talk about that repetition of nonsense, okay, in a moment. But I want to thank James York, you're the man, and Candyman Patrick. Thank you, Candyman Patrick, for being some new subs this week. We can always use the help. For instance, the terminology. I'm at the bar on Tuesday, okay? And there's this crypto club that meets every once in a while. They got some cute ladies that come. I don't like to go to the crypto club thing because it's literally 5 o'clock on a Tuesday, folks, and they like to drinky drink. I'll show up to the after drinky drink around 7:30, maybe 8:30 to get home before midnight and have a few. So this young lady's there. I've never met her, attractive, independent. She's an author, seems pretty intelligent. And she's talking to my buddy, and he's kind of ham-boned, and I actually have to stop the conversation because he points to her, he goes, she took all 3 you-know-whats, and she still got you-know-what. I kind of laughs at her, right? So then he asks her, well, you still say to get it. He's like, why? He just asked why, and her immediate response was, because I believe in science. Now, my new comeback to that, I know it's wild, right? My new comeback to that.
It's insane. It's insane to me. It's like you believe a talking point. You believe a talking point. That's what you believe. You don't believe the data. You don't believe in the numbers that actually happening. You don't believe in statistics. You don't believe in any of the actual science. You just believe in a term. You just have a Band-Aid that you can put on anything, and it makes you right. I believe in science. Well, the science says it doesn't do what it's supposed to.
John, you're killing me, but that's all right. Sorry about guys. I usually don't make funny Ned Flanders type voices, but we got to be so damn careful. So, my new comeback, John, because you're right, is that's so awesome. You know, I love science too. So, like, what are you into? Physics, biology? You into computer science? Are you a programmer? And you know, tell me about it. You like nanotechnology? And they start looking at you, and I'm like, so what science are you like into? Like, and they're like, well, you know, the science. Whoa, buddy. What do you mean the? I mean, are you a physics major? Like, are you a structural engineer? What do you mean the science? What are we talking about?
Evolutionary psychology?
Yeah,
evolutionary
exactly.
biology? Any of those things?
Physiology, and then all of a sudden they kind of go pale, and I go, wait a minute. So what? Like, you're not really into science? You just kind of believe in it? So you believe again in a word. You don't even know science. So like, and then I'll go into like what their actual level of education is. And I'll be like, so like, when's the last time you took a science course? Or are you online, huh? You taking some of those master classes that I read so much about? They just, their face just fucking turns to soup, dude. Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, period. And you have to point that out. And now the new
trained
framing.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Giving you the trained response.
And now, of course, the new framing, and we knew this was coming. And by the way, we're going to play a possible, you know, pre-false flag type video for what may happen in Canada now that it's on. It's on, folks. It's on like Donkey Kong.
And it's happening other places. There are other trucker convoys popping up.
I'll tell you what, man. It goes to D.C., I'm going. But we'll get to that, too. Here's Mika Brzezinski. Again, we've talked about it. Her father wrote the Grand Chessboard. He is literally an acolyte of the Kissinger, Rockefeller, New World Order ideal set. I mean, he's one of the guys he's the guy that bragged that on the Afghanistan border, he got the Russians to attack them by attacking them first. Everybody thinks the Russians attacked Afghanistan. No. Brzezinski engineered the whole thing, admitted it in a French interview that you can go check out in my film, Invisible Empire. A Bilderberg member, the guy who founded the Trilateral Commission. This is his daughter. This is his daughter. And this is what she has to say about your freedom. This is the same lady that told you, we tell you what to believe and think. This is the same lady that said you don't get to read the WikiLeaks documents. So let's see what she has to say about the trucker convoy.
The capital of Canada to a standstill. Dozens of trucks and other vehicles could be seen blocking the downtown area of Ottawa as protesters rallied against vaccine mandates, masks, and lockdowns.
That seems like an interesting way to spend your weekend.
The demonstrations were initially aimed at pushback against vaccine mandates for truck drivers crossing the U.S.-Canada border. But the movement escalated into an expression of disapproval with the Canadian government's COVID-19 policies. Officials say several investigations are underway into reports of severe vandalism and criminal behavior, including the desecration.
You mean they burnt the city down and killed people in the streets?
Bro.
They did a bunch of looting?
You know what we played yesterday? What we did yesterday?
No, it's okay. It's okay when, you know,
that didn't
people
happen.
on the left.
You want to? We played it yesterday, guys.
No, yeah, I saw stuff on my timeline. It was somebody put up banners on a statue.
Well,
they didn't paint it. They didn't desecrate it. They just put up some banners. Oh my God! How dare they? They didn't do. There was no investigation. You know. That summer when they were tearing statues down there. They didn't look into that. That was perfectly acceptable.
Well, it was encouraged so that they could actually tear down Teddy Roosevelt and other people and make it normalized. I played video yesterday of two Canadians going through the streets and picking up the sparse trash that was left on the ground. Yep. Like, let's stop playing. Go watch my show from yesterday. Hopefully that's not hate and lies and misinformation. Think about this woman. Think about what she's saying. She's automatically trying to criminalize people who have always said the goal was to take away the authoritarianism to all the mandates. And by the way, again, New York actually came up with a constitutional decision. We don't care. Appeal. Same thing in Pennsylvania regarding the voting. Have you seen that? Oh, we'll get to it. But yesterday, guys, again, Pennsylvania invalidated all the mail-in ballots from the 2020 election, said they were all unconstitutional, every single one of them, and the headlines are lies. The decision was made, and they just say, appeal. We appeal, John. And now apparently constitutional decisions by state governments and even federal governments, because again, their awful decision on the healthcare workers, and then of course striking down the other mandates, well, they just make them corporate. So let's go to another corporate whore. She gets corporate money.
Of national monuments. Meanwhile, Ottawa Mayor Jim Watson said some protesters harassed a soup kitchen, demanding free meals because their refusal to wear masks meant they were not to order in restaurants. That soup kitchen tweeted COVID protesters were given meals to defuse the conflict and that this weekend's events have caused significant strain on our operations at an already difficult time.
So these anti-vaxxers...
so they took money from people and fed them for money.
Listen, that sounds
they
like
weren't
such
robbed.
a
It
spin.
wasn't stolen.
That sounds like...
They sold their soup. They did business with these people and made money. Oh my God. Oh my
Well, they're
God.
saying it was a soup kitchen and they weren't charging. I don't believe any of what was just put out there. They had a blue check mark next to their name. That's all I'm saying. They're probably a big part of one of these NGOs that's getting money. And now, you know, Mr. Old Congressman who had a dead assistant found in his office, Scarborough here, who left his wife after that whole incident seemed to break the marriage right up. And then decided, actually, I think he got married again after that, or his wife stuck it out because the affair didn't come out right away, or who knows, you know, it's that political thing. But he is with Mika here. You know, he did leave the other wife for Mika. You know, he's a really good person, this Joe Scarborough. Let me just
actually took food from the mouths of the homeless.
Hungry, yeah.
Because they're so put upon. Because they have that back. I'm just curious, again, where were these protests when people were required to get 5 vaccines to start school? Where were these protests when people were required to give their children 5 vaccines?
They were in the doctor's office getting vaccines.
They were in the doctor's office getting vaccines, and they were making fun of left-wingers on the West Coast for being loopy anti-vaxxers.
Okay.
Now they have met the enemy, and the enemy, their enemy, is themselves, because they've become what they hated. They've become what they mocked.
Every single one of these talking points is a lie.
How? What are they? I don't even understand what he's talking about. I thought that was a big
say-
rogue salad of gibberish.
He's trying to say because the quote-unquote anti-whatever movement used to be left-wing, granola-hugging, not right-wing thing. Now that these other people, again, they're trying to make it into a left-right issue, right? They're trying to take it away from the actual mandates and the authoritarianism and make it about the shots, right? And the other thing that's totally different about this, other than all the authoritarianism that comes with it, and obviously the passports and the digital IDs, et cetera, and the no exemptions, is that these aren't even those type of shots. Remember, those were traditional shots that had an antiquated version of the virus in them. These are gene therapies and vector-based solutions. And I don't know if you can even call them quote-unquote solutions, but they're definitely different. So Scarborough, again, just wants to put you in a left or right corner. He wants to muddy the debate.
Bad people.
Bad people. They have met the enemy, and they are them. I can't. I'll vomitas in my mouth if we do the other 20 seconds. So I wanted to show this traffic situation in Ottawa right now. I mean, you can already, take a look. Those red lines, they're everywhere, man. And I hope they keep coming in. And I hope they aren't leaving. And I hope that they get their
I
demands
heard that they've raised enough money where they can just camp out and leave their trucks there for a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, we're going to play the other part of that Rogan clip, and we're going to get saucy on the other side at Rockfin. So make sure to at least get that free account and follow both John and myself. And if you do subscribe, we do love you. $9.99 for the year, or $99.99 $99.99 for the year, $9.99 a month. This is the fringe movement they keep telling you about.
Look at those fringe extremists.
cringe. Let's just lower it so you can. This is Rebel News, by the way. Great job from Rebel News. Again, they've been at the forefront over there. I don't agree with all of their policies. I think that they're a little hawkish in war. I don't like that. I don't like it when any news agency pledges their allegiance to any kind of foreign power, especially when we talk about, and they're very big.
I don't like any news agency pledging any kind of favorability or allegiance to any politician or country or anything.
Thank you.
Their only pledge should be to the truth, no matter what it is.
I totally agree.
No matter how much it looks bad on their own people they support, doesn't matter. Like, we only care about the truth. That's all I want from my news agencies.
Yeah, John, you couldn't have said it better, right? And again, they're not perfect, but they're doing a great job. They're trying to show people how many people are really there. So this is this is a video I have not watched yet. Within the last hour, it's starting to go a little bit viral, and they're basically saying that this is some kind of a setup for a false flag. So, without me knowing what's in here,
they've been taking pictures. I've seen pictures and stuff on my timeline of people popping up with Confederate flags, and they totally look like feds. They look like feds.
It's funny. Like, you say that, and yesterday I was showing just how many quote unquote Confederate flags were at the Capitol. I didn't film one. I didn't film one Confederate flag at the Capitol whatsoever. And you can go watch it. If you find one, let me know. Here's the deal, folks. We got to move it over because I'm going to want to say things that I can't say. In fact, before we go there and play this, I want to show this story right here to John. Court throws Pennsylvania's mail-in voting law into doubt. This guy, Mark Levy, is totally full of shit, and the headline is completely deceptive. It's just like the New York thing, okay, where the mask mandates were shot down, and they just say appeal. We read the documents. So a court declared Friday that the Pennsylvania's expansive 2-year-old mail-in voting laws violates the state constitution. Let's stop there. That means he ruled all the ballots unconstitutional that were mailed in, hence invalid. And I'm not saying again, I was never in imagination land. I told you once they certified the election, it was over. Right? We talked about this, right, John? But I told over the next few years, the truth will come out. And it says...
Yeah. We'll know, like, by 2030 that all the shenanigans or whatever, they'll be like, meh, too late. And we never hold anybody accountable. Like, the press never gets held accountable. Nobody was held accountable for weapons of mass destruction. No politicians, if they're still in office in any way, they won't be held accountable. Nothing will happen. Nothing. Not even a slap on the wrist.
Exactly. And again, this
is... remember that thing that happened way back then? Well, and if things keep going, in this direction, it won't even be taught in the schools. No one will ever know about it, really.
John, there won't be schools if these people have their way by 2040. If they have their way, everything will be Everybody will have their nice little brain chip. The acceptable information will be accessible, and the unacceptable information will not be acceptable. Their great narrative, their transhumanist reset. So again, it should stop there. It should just be period. And then instead it's comma, agreeing with challenges by Republicans who soured on the practice after former President Donald Trump began baselessly attacked it as a rife with fraud in the 2020 re-election campaign. By the basis of how they got the mail-in voting into the system, that was fraud. That's the story. It was all. So what are you talking? And then they spin the whole thing. We appeal. We appeal. We got a Tipsky and Hutch by Canadian refugee. City of Ottawa threatening to freeze $10 million to cover policing costs. Yikes. All right, listen, guys. We're going. Let's see. We got a whole bunch of stuff. All right. Well, we're going to do it over at the Rockfin. YouTube, I love you, but we can't do it no more. If you do want to support me, the GoFundMe's down there. And remember, the audio version of this should be available on every single platform by the end of the week, if not next Monday. Next Monday, we're going to be live streaming on Podbean. And that's going to be a new way that you can watch the broadcast or listen to the broadcast everywhere. And I don't know whether it's just going to be this show or we're going to throw another show together. What in the message, in the message, just tell me what you think I should call it. Asshole with Jason Burmis.